and welcome to Captain's Log, episode number 12. My name is Chris, also known as Rachel Garrett, on SEOwiki.org and starbaseugc.com. So, this week, this episode again has to be some kind of hush-hush because I don't have much time to record and edit this show, but it's packed with a lot of good stuff, so I'll go through that quite quickly. And this week I'm going to start with Star Trek Online. So the big chunk of Star Trek Online related news this week is a Ask Cryptic with dStahl. And he went through a lot of interesting questions. So first of all, we know that the Wells class and the Korath class, which we discussed in episode number 10, I believe, will be introduced in the game and will be added to the game officially in the second half of September. No comment on why it was necessary to censor the forums on that or in what form the ships will be published. My guess would be that they will be added as a lockbox reward when the Solian lockbox is, well, faded out. And also we got confirmation that Season 7 will be added in November, and it will contain a new Romulan colony social zone, which will introduce, well, a new kind of use for social maps, and they want to test a new concept to do missions on social maps. And if that goes well, then the old social maps like Risa or Andoria will be recreated, retrofitted, to include similar missions, and well, we can look forward to see how this turns out. Also with Season 7 there will be a new game system added, and this will be the Omega Fleet reputation system, which will allow you to differentiate your character a bit, to develop it in a new system, to level in a new system, and this system will again grant you new rewards and items, and maybe this will be the next grind system to keep long-term players happy. Also, this might be a replacement for the veteran rewards, because dStahl still would not elaborate if these veteran rewards will be continued after 1000 days. That would again be another step away from the subscription model, because right now the veteran rewards are one of the few incentives to actually subscribe to the game. And well, if in the future these will be discontinued and you will be able to gain special rewards through the reputation system, then that's another way to drive players from the subscriber camp to the free-to-player camp. I don't know. We need to get more information about more information on the reputation system to actually draw any definitive conclusions on that. Then Galaxy X fans will be glad to hear that they are still working on allowing saucer separation for the Galaxy X. Also, dStahl confirmed that the big comeback for featured episodes will be somewhere in Season 8. And actually Season 8 does not seem to be hammered out quite yet. The feature set for Season 8 seems to be open for discussion, and dStahl posted a link to it where you can cast one vote how the game should evolve and what you want to see in future updates. And well, there are 8 options for you, and right now it seems that a new playable faction, namely Romulans, is the leading feature request, followed by more KDF content and more featured episodes. Right now only 2,000 players have placed their vote in this poll, so go over there and cast your vote. I think this is a nice move by Cryptic to actually allow players again to drive the development of the game. I think we've seen too little of that in the last year actually. And also the 50 fleet marks for doing investigate officer reports are back in the game for the time being. So each day you will be able to grind 50 fleet marks on top of all the other rewards for investigate officer reports, and so this is now a very attractive mission to do. So do 3 foundry missions, no matter how long and elaborate they are, and you will be able to claim a 1440 dilithium or a level appropriate item, a bunch of skill points, and also 50 fleet marks. I think this is quite a lot. Use your opportunity to advance your fleet project. So with that, let's continue with gaming. So City of Heroes, which actually was the first game developed by Cryptic Studios, their first MMO, is closing at the end of the year. Actually, City of Heroes is now developed by Paragon Studios, and well, all developers have been sent home. The development studio has been closed by the publisher NCSoft, and also the game will shut down at the end of the year. And well, this is kind of a Star Trek Online related item, although Cryptic has no active involvement with that game anymore. But well, I think that some people at Cryptic might be a little bit sad that their firstborn is disappearing from the internet actually. Then, yeah, you know that I'm following closely the development of Planetary Annihilation, or actually the Kickstarter campaign. Development has not started yet, actually development hasn't started yet, but the first stretch goals have been met. So there are now water planets and naval units, also gas giants with much more orbital warfare, and it's pretty close towards lava and metal planets as battlefields. The project right now is at $1,400,000 US, and they've unlocked a new stretch goal at 1.8 million, where they want to introduce a replayable, generic, randomized meta game, a campaign where you can do galactic warfare, and they have published a new video on that, and you will find a link to that in the show notes. On another note, Star Trek Excalibur, the project I told you about last week, has also published a new video update, again discussing their hardpoint editor, which actually is the editor in which a ship is fleshed out with systems like warp cores, phaser banks and stuff like that. And they have some interesting new features how to do starships from multiple 3D meshes. So for example, that they have swappable mission pods for the nebula, so they can in some ways do what we can in Star Trek Online and kit bash ships from different components. So they can do runabouts with and without the torpedo launcher on top, and also, which seems to be quite cool, they can define regions on a starship that are lit independently of others. So for example, in the video they show how they draw a box around a warp nacelle, which will cause the glow of the warp nacelle to flicker as if it was damaged. And they also discuss in the video that the granularity of this feature can be very fine, actually going down to an individual window of a starship on which they can switch the lights on and off. So this is quite cool. The video is linked in the show notes. And with that, I would like to continue with Trek news. So the biggest news in Trek this week is that the new J.J. Abrams Star Trek movie actually got a name. And the new feature film in the Star Trek universe will be called Star Trek Into Darkness. This reminds us of The Dark Knight, actually, doesn't it? Again, Star Trek seems to be geared in the more action-oriented, darker side of things. Think of Star Trek First Contact, for example, or the dreaded Star Trek Nemesis. Also, we got a bit of more information about Star Trek Renegades, a new fan series from Renegades Studios, the creators of Star Trek of Gods and Men. And we already knew that Tim Russ would be directing and reprising his role as Tuvok, and there is a new teaser trailer out there showing an aged Admiral Pavel Chekhov discussing creating some kind of special force, or some kind of renegade force from former Starfleet officers, which would operate somewhere off the grid and doing some crazy stuff. And well, this is going to be the pilot for a web series, obviously, and this is probably going to be a Kickstarter project. Again, this will be a darker take on the Star Trek franchise. This will be action-oriented, they say on their website. As always, a new Star Trek fan project is really fine. I would be highly interested in if they have some kind of deal or some kind of arrangement with Paramount/CBS, if they are in fact allowed to collect money through Kickstarter for a project like that. Because until now, I only know that CBS and Paramount have some kind of agreement with Star Trek Phase 2, for example. Some kind of unofficial agreement that they are allowed to do their stuff and release it on the web as long as they do not make any profit from that and they do not monetize it. So I'd be highly interested if Tim Russ and Walter Koenig were able to negotiate some kind of deal with Paramount that would allow them to actually collect money for their series. And then finally, and this is actually the big topic I wanted to discuss this week, finally I got my Blu-ray disc set. And I have seen that also this week the replacement discs are shipped. I believe my set already includes the fixed discs and the fixed audio channels, but it turns out that not only there were some problems with the audio mixing, but also with some special effects, most notably a phaser blast missing from Code of Honor. First of all, kudos to CBS in how they manage their quality problems. Core and Track Movie have posted how the studio apologizes to its customers with the replacement discs. There is a little postcard included with sincere apologies, and I think this is actually how you have to go about this stuff if you do a mess up. I think Cryptic and PWE could learn from that. This is clear admittance of, well, we screwed up, we are sorry, and here's how we're going to fix it. And try to compare that with, well, the letter we got by Brown Flakes after PWE decided to blow up the forums, for example, and where you won't find any kind of apology. So Cryptic and PWE, go watch and learn from CBS Home Entertainment how they dealt with their mess up and their screw up, and how they sincerely try to fix that. I think this is exemplary. Now, coming to the discs and the content on the discs themselves, they are glorious. The image quality is so great. Also, there is at least for me, an unexpected abundance of new special features. On the first disc, you will find a lot of promotional stuff from 1987 when the series was launched. So a lot of advertisement for the pilot. Also, for each episode, you will find the promotional trailer for that episode included in the box set. And there are 4 new special features, all of which have a running length from, I don't know, 20 to 30 minutes or so, in full HD, with new interviews from the writers, producers, and actors from the show. And also surprisingly, these are, in as far as I can see it, very open, very honest, sometimes critical, even of Gene Roddenberry at the time, and they offer great new insight into the creation of the show. And I, as a diehard Trek fan, could learn a lot from watching the special features, and I'm really glad they are included in the box set. Also, there are the original special features included in the box set, but not the original episodes. So you cannot go back and watch the PAL versions or the NTSC versions of the episodes, the SD versions. They are not included in the box set. Also, a little caveat would be that, at least with my German box set, there is no booklet whatsoever with and no table of contents with the disc. It's kind of hard if you want to watch a specific episode to find out which disc you have, to start. So I think for such a box set, some kind of reference which episode is on which disc would have been really nice. But now the really good stuff. The color correction did miracles for the episodes. Especially the first season DVD box has a lot of reddish colors, a red color shift in it, and this has been cleaned up completely, and the stuff really looks gorgeous. Also, the special effects model shots are astonishing, jaw-dropping actually, especially if you make direct comparison to the old DVD shots. I've prepared what you see behind me are screen caps that I took myself from my first edition DVD set, PAL region DVD set. I took stills from that and tried to capture exactly the same frame on the Blu-ray version, which was kind of hard to accomplish, but I hope these are the most accurate comparisons that you will find from the old images and the new images. There was an amazing amount of care taken with redoing the old planets. As you may know, the planets as transporter effects, the phaser blasts, the photon torpedoes, explosions and stuff like that were all done in video editing of the original show, and well, the 3D models and graphics for the original planets are all lost, long gone, and they had to be recreated. And the amount of care that has been taken with recreating these planets and making sure that the land masses are exactly where they are supposed to be and the oceans are exactly where they're supposed to be, that it actually looks like just a haze layer has been taken off the original version of these planets, the low-def version of these planets, and now you're looking at these planets really without obfuscation for the first time. This is really amazing. Yeah, there are also some very minor imperfections. I just wanted to mention them here so you know what you are buying. But a disclaimer on top, I don't think these are major things, but I wanted to know what you're buying if you're into that box set. Some effect shots could not be recovered. So there are some matte paintings of the Enterprise that are used throughout the series, which were recreated using matte paintings on a model done by Tobias Richter. from the Lightworks. And especially with one matte painting, the one from Encounter at Farpoint, when the Enterprise transfers energy down to the entity on the planet's surface, to Farpoint station. This does not look at all like the actual model ship. The lighting is completely off, and it looks like it is built of foam or something like that. So this was not recreated very truthfully. Also, I found that some scenes were not recomposited the same way that they were originally created. So, for example, I found in the opening shot of Captain Picard stepping out of the shadow into the camera that a different area from the frame were used in that shot for no reason that I could think of. Also later with Deanna Troi in front of a viewing screen in front of one of the Farpoint creatures, the elements of this shot don't line up in the same way that they were composited in the original TV version. And the reason why I have a slight problem with that is, well, CBS told us repeatedly and also on the special features on the box set that the primary reason why we don't have a 60:9 widescreen version of these episodes is that they wanted to preserve the aspect ratio and the composition of the shots as they were done for the TV series, and that they could not, in some instances, they could not use the additional area, the additional information on the original negative, which is widescreen, because there are lampposts and stuff like that in the frame. So sometimes they would have to zoom in actually and to discard some information from top and bottom of the frames in order to create a widescreen version, and they didn't want to do that. But, well, if that is all true, then why are there scenes? I have not looked for them actively. I simply found them while I was taking comparison shots for displaying them in on the show and giving you an impression of how much the image quality has improved. I was not actively looking for these shots, but I found them anywhere. According to CBS, this should not happen actually, because they were allegedly so careful recreating these shots. So nothing too major actually. This is really not a major deal, but this is what I said previously. It would have been nice to have the original SD versions of the shows on the discs as well. They don't take a lot of space actually. They're really small compared to the full HD versions we have now, but it would have been nice to have both versions on the same discs and to switch from one version to the other as you could with the original series box set. And also I found one instance of minor imperfection in Code of Honor, where in one scene there are some interlace artifacts. Again, nothing major, it's just a few seconds, but that picture is not as clean and perfect as it should be. But after all, please take away that this is a delightful box set. It's glorious. It is a technical triumph in the business of remastering this stuff, recompositing all these shows from their original negatives, putting it all together that it looks gorgeous, create truthful recreations of them. This is all very visible. This can be felt very clearly when you watch each and every episode, especially, as I said, the planets are amazing. And also I found that at least in the opening sequence, it seems like all the stars are exactly where they are supposed to be. This is not only a reuse of the model ships, but also of some of the ILM stars. And this is such a labor of love, and you can see it in every episode. I can really recommend this box set for each and every fan of Star Trek, and especially of The Next Generation. Of course, the first season of Star Trek The Next Generation is not as great and cool and in-depth and intricate as, for example, the third season. Of course not. These were the first little steps toward a continuous run of Star Trek shows for 18 years. Yeah, again, I can recommend it to everyone who can afford, well, the price tag. So, with that, I don't have anything I can show for a new community section. I've put the question out last week on how you approach a fleet blockade. Although I've heard from some guys that they would like to see a segment like that on the show, I didn't receive any tips and tricks on how to approach that, and I didn't have time to do that myself. Also, maybe I'll tune back the release schedule for the show. Until now, I've tried to put out a new episode each week, and don't be surprised if in the future there will be some weeks where I don't do a new show. This is quite simply a matter of time, and I have some other projects on my hands that I don't spend much time with because of the podcast. Last but not least, stowiki.org would require a lot of attention actually, and it doesn't get it from me because I'm spending so much time with the podcast. So don't be alarmed if sometime in the future I will leave out a show or two every now and then. This does not mean that I would quit this podcast. I just wanted you to know that I might need to take some time off every now and then there won't be a new show, and I don't know if I will be able to announce that on the show before. So with that, again, if you want to see a tips and tricks segment, send me something to my mail address, trekmmo@googlemail.com, on, well, let's say any topic that you're interested in, or write it in the comments, and well, I'll pick it up and show it on the show so that everyone can profit from your knowledge. So with that, thank you very much for watching. I see you out there. Good night and good luck.